Today, my team, Amar and I, will be presenting our recommendation for 2023 Duke QNC TMC National Case Competition. Next slide. I'm Mansi Krishnamurthy, and my team members are.
Hi, I'm Rupali Gun.
And I'm Ojolake Ogenetega.
Next slide. The case prompt given to us was asked us to evaluate the opportunity associated with the treatment for atopic dermatitis and plaque psoriasis. To elaborate, we have looked into the commercial assessment of ABC001, a lead asset of biopharma company, to proceed to phase 2 clinical trials for either atopic dermatitis or plaque psoriasis. Next slide. So the four key components that we looked at was patient segments, competitive landscape, peer and regulatory considerations, and commercial opportunities. Under patient segments, we looked at disease prevalence and severity. Under competitive landscape, we looked at current treatments and new entrants, other biologics and small molecule inhibitors, and other OX40 targeting drugs under development. Under payer and regulatory considerations, we looked at the time it would take to get the approval and the previously approved drugs and the indications, which was pediatric and the adults segment. In under commercial opportunities, we looked at market size, market growth rate, and revenue forecasting. Now, Lape will present the recommendations.
Thank you, Mansi. So our recommendation here is that ABC Biopharma, our client, should proceed with clinical development of ABC001 for atopic dermatitis. And we looked at 4 things to help us make this decision. First of all, the growth rate for atopic dermatitis is higher than that of plaque psoriasis. The growth rate is for AD is 14.5% compared to 9.6% for psoriasis, which is over 4 percentage points more. Next, we have a higher patient segment for atopic dermatitis compared to psoriasis, and the difference is about 8 million, which means that there's a much larger market for us for in the AD market. Next is the competitive landscape. For atopic dermatitis, we have one major player in the market, which is Dupixent. While for psoriasis, we have about 12 competitors currently in the market. This means that if we enter the psoriasis market, we'll be struggling for market share compared to the atopic dermatitis market, which might provide a smoother entry for us since we have fewer competitors. Lastly is looking at the commercial opportunity for these two diseases. We see here that the market revenue for moderate to severe disease for atopic dermatitis was calculated to be about 446 billion per year, while that of psoriasis was calculated to be 192 billion per year. Here we see that we have over 140% higher in atopic dermatitis compared to psoriasis. And looking at all these things, we definitely would recommend that our client will go for atopic dermatitis instead of psoriasis for their clinical development of ABC001. Next slide. So looking at the disease prevalence, we saw that we had about 26 million patients in the US for atopic dermatitis. And out of this 26%, about 40%, that is 10 million people, had moderate to severe disease, which means that they would require in the injection compared to topical treatments. Of this number, we see that 9.6 million were children within the first 6 months of life, and 6.5 million are adults affected. Also, we noticed that most clinical trials focus on moderate to severe AD, while majority of patients suffer from mild to moderate diseases. Looking at the image on the right, we see that for psoriasis, we have 7.5 million patients in the US. and about 2 million with moderate to severe diseases, which is significantly less than atopic dermatitis. We also noticed that there is no difference in the US prevalence within the last 2 decades, which is not favorable for our clients to enter this market. Next, we see below the ranking of prevalence by the race and ethnicity. Next slide. I'm handing over now to Rupali.
Yeah, thank you, Lape. So we looked at the current landscape of the treatments which are available for these two conditions. And we found that in AD, the only biologic which is in the market is the Dupixent, which is an IL-4 receptor antagonist that kind of dominates the market right now. And it is considered a strong, like a gold standard in the market. And apart from that, there are these small molecule drugs which are either used as topical treatment or as creams in a cream base, and that includes calcineurin inhibitor and PDE4 inhibitors. So the market is not really, there's only one dominant player in the market, which is Dupixent. While on the other hand, in the psoriasis market, it's kind of saturated for the biologics treatment because there are 12 biologics which are already approved for psoriasis. That includes biologics that target TNF, IL-23 and IL-17 molecules. And so basically there is a very strong competition for a new entrant to enter a biologic market in the psoriasis. And apart from these biologics, there are other topical treatments as well as a PDE4 inhibitor, apremilast, which is soon going to get a generic status. And then we also saw that there were a couple of there were a few drugs that were approved in 2021 to 2022 time window. And there were 4 new entrants in the AD market that included the IL-13 inhibitor tralokinumab, which is approved for adults, and the JAK inhibitor also entered the AD market. 2 of those JAK inhibitor are topical treatment, which is usually preferred by patients for the convenience of use. In the psoriasis market, on the other hand, there were 3 new entrants that include TYK2 inhibitor, which is first of the class in the psoriasis, as well as there was PDE4 inhibitor roflumilast, which is a topical treatment, and an aryl hydrocarbon receptor agonist, tapinarof, which is again a topical treatment approved for adults. So apart from those approved drugs, we found a few molecules that are direct competitor for ABC001, because these drugs, they target the OX40 receptor ligand interaction. And the strongest competitor in this category is rocatinlimab, which is being developed by Amgen for atopic dermatitis. And then this particular molecule is in the phase 3 clinical trial and being tested for moderate to severe AD patients who are 12 years or above. Apart from that, there were 2 more candidates that include KY1005 from Kymab and GBR830 from Glenmark that are also being developed as a potential treatment for atopic dermatitis. And the molecule from Amgen has been shown to be tested in psoriasis in one of the studies. And so there are also multiple drugs which are being developed for atopic dermatitis and psoriasis, and these basically involve molecules that will inhibit the key immune pathways which are known to be involved in these diseases, that include IL-13 and IL-31 inhibitors as well as JAK inhibitor. So here, few of the strong candidates are lebrikizumab from Lilly, as well as baricitinib, which are already in the phase 3 trial, and most of these are targeting the moderate to severe AD. In the psoriasis drug development, there are candidates that are again targeting IL-17 molecule, that is a key molecule in psoriasis, So these are also being developed, which target moderate to severe psoriatic patients. I will hand it over to Lape now.
Thank you very much, Rupali. So next we looked at the commercial opportunities, breaking down the math. And so what we did to calculate the potential revenue for each of the diseases was to multiply the number of potential patients with the dosage per year and the price of the drug per pack. Just to put things in context, a dosage is an injection that is received every 2 weeks. And that means that the patient requires 26 doses per year. And each pack priced below is for 2 doses. So for atopic dermatitis, the price for a pack was $3,587.92. And we multiplied that by 10 million, which is the amount of patients with moderate to severe disease, and then multiply that by the doses they require per year to give us $466 billion. For psoriasis, the price per pack was $7,389, and we multiply that by 2 million, which is the number of patients with moderate to severe disease, and then multiply that by the dose they will require per year to give us $192 billion. So from this calculation, we see that the potential revenue in the market for atopic dermatitis is significantly higher than that of psoriasis. Next slide, please. So looking at some of the other factors, such as unmet needs, which can help us make this decision, we looked at atopic dermatitis, and some of the unmet needs were, first of all, addressing heterogeneity in pathophysiology of the atopic dermatitis. And this simply means that more effort in research and development is needed to better understand this disease and better able to treat patients. Next is improve patients' compliance, which we can do by educating patients on how to adhere to their treatment plans. Lastly, the drugs that control patients' itching. Dupixent currently achieves moderate effect in controlling itch, and we believe that there's an opportunity for our client to develop the drug to be more effective in itching control. Looking at psoriasis, we see that some of the unmet needs are the lack of cost-effective therapies. The cost of these biologics are very high, and the disease management requires lifelong treatments. And therefore, our client entering this market, which is already saturated, would mean that they would have to be very sensitive about the pricing because there's already a call for cheaper alternatives. Next is needing efficacious therapies for treatment in refractory patients. And lastly, we looked at the need for treatment options for mild patients, which is something that there's an opportunity there to provide treatments for those with mild to moderate psoriasis. Next slide. After looking at all these factors, we see that, first of all, with atopic dermatitis, there's a strong market growth, which is significantly higher than that of psoriasis. Next, there is a high disease prevalence for atopic dermatitis, with more people, approximately 8 million more people than psoriasis, having moderate to severe disease. And lastly, there is less competition in the AD market, with one major player, which is Dupixent, compared to psoriasis, which has over 10 major players in that market. And combining all these three, it implies that we expect higher revenue in the atopic dermatitis market, and will therefore recommend to our client to produce the ABC001 drug to treat atopic dermatitis. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.